Hi, my name is Amanda Denman, and this is the data overview for Cumming Elementary, April 17th, 2017. The purpose of the data overview is to review demographic enrollment at Cumming Elementary in the last 3 years, review the English Language Arts achievement scores on the Georgia milestones for the school as well as 3rd grade, analyze English language learner data in ELA for 3rd grade on the Georgia milestones, springboard into ongoing data analysis in the classroom, and identify areas of strengths and weaknesses in the data. Some questions to consider while reviewing the data include: are the students making growth in ELA from one year to the next? How do the students' achievement levels compare to the district's achievement levels? How do the students at Cumming Elementary's achievement levels compare to that at the state level? What factors are the teacher in control of that may affect change in the classroom? And what factors may result in lower scores for ELL students in ELA? The following data is presented to show the current enrollment status and demographic trends at Cumming Elementary. Cumming Elementary school enrollment numbers has steadily increased over the past 3 years. In 2014, the enrollment was 893, and that increased by 46 students in 2016. The two highest ethnicity groups at Cumming Elementary are the white ethnicity group and the Hispanics. Over the years, the number of white students has decreased, where the number of Hispanic students have increased. As of the year 2016, Cumming Elementary has more males in each grade level than females. 3rd grade has the most males, where 2nd grade has the least amount of males. 3rd grade also has the most females, and kindergarten has the least amount of females. The data shows that there is a higher percentage of males than there are females at Cumming Elementary. The data also shows that there is a higher percent of Hispanic males compared to the white males, and there is also a higher percent of Hispanic females compared to the white females. The other subgroups show that there is about an equal number of male to female ratio. If we are to look at the student demographics according to the districts, Asian, Black, Hispanic, American Indian, multiracial, Pacific Islander have all increased from 2014 to 2016. The white population has actually decreased 5% from 2014 to 2016. Since Cumming Elementary is a Title I school, many of the students identify as being economically disadvantaged. In the years 2014 and 2015, 16.9% of the student population identified as being economically disadvantaged. In 2016, that number increased by 1% to 61.9% as identifying as being economically disadvantaged. The next part of the data overview, we are going to look at the Georgia Milestones Assessment scores for Cumming Elementary. We're going to look at the achievement levels for all subjects for grades 3 through 5. We'll then narrow our focus to look at the 3rd grade achievement scores, specifically the ELA portion. We'll then dig even deeper into achievement scores for English proficient learners versus non-English proficient learners. The state assessment that Cumming Elementary takes is the Georgia Milestone End of Grade Assessment. This is a norm reference test taken in grades 3rd through high school. The Georgia Milestones is designed to give information on how students are mastering standards in English Language Arts, Math, Science, and Social Studies. Grades 3rd and 4th are not responsible for taking the Science and Social Studies portion of the Georgia Milestones assessment. The Georgia Milestones is a test comprised of multiple choice questions, short answer response questions in ELA and Math, and a longer writing component where they must respond to a passage that is read by the students. The Georgia Milestones are scored using bars, which represent which achievement level the students are performing at. 1 bar means the student does not meet learning expectations. 3 bars is where students are expected to be performing, which means they are demonstrating proficient mastery of the standards. 4 bars means they are performing above expected proficiency levels. For the ELA portion of the Georgia Milestones, the student is given a scale score. This scale score shows the parents and teachers and students the level at which they have achieved, as well as how their scale score compares to the students at the rest of the school, how that student's score compares to at the district level, and then how that score compares to at the state of Georgia level. The Georgia Milestones have only been taken over a 2-year time span at Cumming Elementary. The data shows how the 3rd grade students at Cumming Elementary scored in each subject area. In 2014 and 2015, the highest percentage of students scored at the Level 2 developing stage for most of the subject areas. The data the next year shows almost the same trend. Most students scored at the Level 2 developing level in all subject areas. However, the number of students scoring at the proficient level is higher this year than the previous year. If we are to look at the percentage of students in 3rd grade at each proficiency level for the ELA portion of the Georgia Milestones, you can see that the distinguished learners and proficient learners at Cumming Elementary are greater than the distinguished and proficient learners at the state level. So at Cumming Elementary, we have more distinguished and proficient learners at the school than most of the schools in the state. However, Cumming Elementary has a lower amount of distinguished and proficient learners at the school than the rest of the schools in Forsyth County. If we take a look at the beginning developing proficiency levels, then we can see that Cumming Elementary actually scored higher than the rest of the schools in Forsyth County in these 2 areas. These are actually the lower level proficiency bands, so the beginning and developing stages are higher at Cumming Elementary than the other schools in the county. However, it is about equal to the schools in the state. So that means that Cumming Elementary is performing or has the same amount of percentage of students who are at the beginning and developing stages as the rest of the state. The data shows how each of the subgroups performed on the ELA portion of the Georgia Milestones for the 2015-2016 school year. The data shows that most of the subgroups scored at the beginning level, Level 1. The subgroup that performed the best is the white subgroup, scoring 37% at the proficient level and 15% at the distinguished level. Here we are taking a closer look at how the ELL English language learners scored on the ELA portion of the Georgia Milestones for grades 3rd, 4th, and 5th for the 2015 and 2016 school year. If we look specifically at the 3rd grade ELL learners, we can see that Cumming Elementary has more students performing at the beginning level, Level 1, than the rest of the schools in Forsyth County, as well as the rest of the schools in the state. Whereas the data also shows us that Cumming Elementary has a lower amount of students who scored on the developing, proficient, and distinguished stages. This is not very good because this means that Cumming Elementary has a higher amount of lower level performing students than the county as well as the state of Georgia. In a perfect world, we would like to see these numbers reversed, that we have a lower amount of students performing at the beginning stage 1 compared to the rest of the county and the state, and more students performing at the proficient and distinguished levels than the county and the state. We can dig into the ELA Georgia Milestones performance levels on a deeper level by looking at the students who are limited English students compared to those who are not limited English students. The data shows a significant gap between the limited English students and the not limited English students. There is a 33.3% difference between the limited English students' performance at the level 1 beginning stage than the not limited English students. This means that 33.3% more of the limited English students, so more of the Spanish-speaking students, are performing at level 1 than the other ethnicity groups. On the other hand, the data is completely opposite if you look at the proficient level. This is the level where we want all students to be performing at. 26% of the not limited English students are scoring higher than the limited English students. So the Hispanic students are scoring 26% lower at the proficient level than the other ethnicity groups. If we analyze the achievement scores for students scoring at the proficient level or above for the district, 3rd and 4th grade did not make any growth over the past 2 years. However, grades 5 through 8 made little growth in 2015 to 2016. However, some growth is better than no growth. After reviewing all the data, there are areas where Cumming Elementary shows areas of strength. The student enrollment is increasing from year to year. As a school, Cumming Elementary had a higher amount of students scoring at the proficient level in 2016 than the previous year, 2015. This is showing a positive growth. Cumming Elementary School's overall performance is higher than 66% of the schools in the state of Georgia. Cumming Elementary students' academic growth is higher than 54% of the schools in the state of Georgia. Cumming Elementary's 3rd grade has more students scoring proficient and distinguished compared to the rest of the state. The data also shows areas of weakness at Cumming Elementary. A greater number of students are scoring at the beginning level in 2016 than 2015. Cumming Elementary scores are overall lower than the Forsyth County District scores, meaning that Cumming Elementary is scoring lower than most of the other schools in Forsyth County. Cumming Elementary has more students scoring at the beginning achievement level, so level 1, than the rest of the district and the rest of the state. There is also a huge achievement gap between the English proficient students and the non-English proficient students. After gathering and analyzing the data, some important discussion questions can be asked. What are some factors that may be affecting the student's performance in ELA? What are some ways teachers can bridge the gaps with the ELL students? What specifically are we doing to serve our English language learner students? And where does our school lie on the cultural proficiency continuum? The next step that I would like for you to do is to go back and review the data presented in the data overview process and discuss with your group any observations or trends you may see in the data that is alarming to you. Next, I'd like you to identify areas of strengths and weaknesses in your specific grade level. I know that we look closely at the 3rd grade ELA data, but I want you to go back and look at the data for your grade level specifically and identify areas of strengths and weaknesses there. Next, I'd like you to take a closer look at the questions on the previous slide. Discuss these questions and the answers in groups of 2 or 3. Last, I would like you to rank where you think you are on the cultural proficiency continuum scale.